I am an entrepreneur. So I am the idea generator and co-founder of Euromessage, which is the leading email company of Turkey. So we started a new sector in Turkey, and right now we are trying to enhance our businesses internationally. Besides, I'm a fresh mother, and my baby is 6 weeks old, and her name is Zoe. Oh yes. Thank you. I am tired. So, and I know this little Zoe is going to change my life very much. So actually for me, life itself is a constant change. While we are chasing our dreams or goals, whatever you name them, actually what we are doing is dealing with the change, and it takes some courage. And tonight I will try to share some moments which formed my dreams and which gave me the courage to deal with the change and the challenge. So my initial dream in life was financially independent, to be financially independent. As a daughter of a divorced parents, I realized in my early ages that it's not a good idea to look up to a man for my basic financial needs. Sorry, guys. And I had to make my own money. And I had to buy my own diamond ring if necessary, if Nilkar Ibrahimgil says very nicely in her songs. I like that song. So my second dream was to be a world citizen, being a world citizen. This dream formed itself when my mother married a wonderful Jewish person and started the Austrian school. So I was mesmerized by the diversity of these different people, different cultures, and different belief systems. And when I was ending up studying in Vienna and spending my summers in UCLA, this dream became an obsession. So I didn't want to be squeezed by the boundaries of my country, my religion, or my language. People are the same around the world, only our experiences make us different from each other. So today, when I look at myself, I can say I live my dreams with its positive and negative aspects. So I own a company, so I was able to buy the sailing boat that I was wishing for since my childhood, and it's called Pantarei. Change is inevitable in life. It's the meaning. It's a Greek word. And I'm married to a half Scottish, half English man who grew up in Germany. I met him in Switzerland. We live in Hamburg. I live in Istanbul, and maybe we will move to New York. So I think I can say I'm financially independent, but I have to admit I didn't my own ring, so my husband did it, so I am happy, I have to admit. And on the other hand, I perceive myself as a world citizen, although my passport still says I am Turkish and I'm 100% religiously Muslim. So, but I know with all up and downs, I live the life I've chosen, and I'm very happy with it. So, but it's not easy. So if I look at myself, actually I work every hour of the day. I have no time for my private life. So, and I have to travel back and forth from Hamburg to Istanbul. Actually, I have an Excel sheet. So to plan my travels between Hamburg and Istanbul. So it's a hard life. And the sailing boat, it is the biggest headache I have in my life. So now I know what is this saying means when the people say the best moments of having a boat is when you buy it and when you sell it. So it's really like that. So anyway, change and challenge, they are inevitable in life. All you need is to have the courage to embrace them. So when I was 22 years old, I met a guy. I don't even remember his name, but I remember what he told to me. He told me very passionately that everyone should reinvent himself or herself in every 2 years to gain new perspectives in life. This encounter changed my life profoundly. So I love the idea, and I embrace change with all of my heart. So at that time, I was studying in Vienna, and my family was expecting me to come back to Turkey and take over the family business with my sister. I decided against it. So I took a very, very experimental job at Doğuş Holding. It was a CRM department. At that time, nobody knew what CRM meant, even me, but I said yes to that offer. And it worked well for me. So I spent 10 years with Doğuş Holding, and I had several responsibilities in different countries. not in different countries, sorry. I mean, I was only in Istanbul, but I was in different companies and I learned a lot of stuff. And the idea of Euromessage occurred to me also while I was working for Doğuş Group. So trying to reinvent in myself, I had to learn to get off my comfort zone. When we set up Euromessage, I was working for Doğuş Holding, so I had to resign. I went to my boss and I said, I'm going to resign and I'm going to do my own business. But my boss convinced me actually to carry out both businesses at the same time, and he offered me a new job at Garanti Bank. Another challenge. I had no idea about banking. Again, I said yes. So, and I ended up working for 2 businesses. Again, 5 hours a day after work, I had to work for my own business. The Garanti business was a new challenge for me. So I had no private life, no time for myself. But I did it. Again, it worked for me. And in a funny way, to leave Garanti was another challenge for me, because I started as a little product manager, but after a couple of years, I ended up being the marketing head of the credit card business. So I was representing a big power which actually didn't belong to me. But people were treating me like I'm a very important person. So I had a VIP life. I had the best seats everywhere. People are taking my calls whenever I want. So it was very, very hard for me to take the next step and to join my partners at Euromessage. But I knew I had to do that. So one day I decided, okay, it's time. I'm going to live this luxurious life and I will go to my startup. So in 1 month, I was sitting at Euromessage with no influence at all. I lost all my so-called friends. They didn't even take my calls anymore. No more VIP seats. But I was happy. So I was representing a very little power, but it was my power. So with all the corporate knowledge I gathered throughout the years, me and my partners, we convert Euromessage from a startup to an established company. So right now we have offices in Hamburg, Istanbul, and Dubai, and we are competing with international companies. So challenge, challenge, going out of your comfort zone. This is what my life is. Even if you look at my private life, it is the same. I wouldn't be able to meet my husband if I wouldn't dare to take off-piste skiing training somewhere in Switzerland. And if you knew how I ski, you would know how daring it was for me to take this advanced course. So I did it, and I met my husband there. And to carry out this relationship was another problem. He was living in Hamburg, I was living in Istanbul, we were carrying Excel sheets, we were spending all of our money for flight tickets. We have to find very interesting ways to communicate, sending video messages to each other, FaceTime, Skype. We used all the communication methodologies you can imagine in life. So we did it. I mean, we were able to see each other only weekends. We even managed to create a baby. So if you want it, it happens. For my private life and for my business life. So if I think with my 6-week-old baby, being here and making this speech is not easy. I mean, I have to admit, Melek, there were times I thought I'm gonna call Melek and say, I'm not gonna do this. So I'm overwhelmed, I am tired, I can't speak English anymore, I'm forgetting everything. This speech is gonna be a disaster. But it would be really very against everything what I'm telling here. So life is a change. I mean, if you think we are living in really very disruptive times, everything is changing much faster than before. How we communicate, how we share things, how we learn, how we discover, everything is changing. And the only constant thing, however, is the absence of clarity, direction, and the right answers. So it will be a very unrealistic it would be very unrealistic to say there is a way towards transition in life, an easy way. There is not. I mean, I just dive in. So I try to take the courage to dive in and do the new stuff, because I know all the excitement, all the energy, and all the possibilities to live our dreams are out of that comfort zone, out of that circle. And the courage, actually, I get usually from the books I read and mostly from the people I am surrounded with. So change is good. Thank you very much. May change and courage with you.